Hello, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. Happy Wednesday. Today I am heading to get the COVID-19 vaccine, and I just decided let me just throw in a little bit of makeup. Let me film it, and I'm gonna show you how, because I only have like 20 minutes until I need to get out of here. I'm gonna show you a quick, like no makeup, like you don't have much time, you need to run out the door type of makeup, just to put a little something on my face, you know? One thing I will say to start off with, which really helps if you are someone that doesn't have a lot of time to get ready every day, or even if you're just someone who is a more natural gal in general, I highly recommend investing in a palette, which is one I'm going to use for like pretty much my whole face today, a palette like this. This is the Smashbox Cali contour palette, and you know, there's a lot of different variations of this on the market, so I definitely recommend something like this. But it's just awesome because, you know, it's just powders. So even though it says it's for bronzing and highlighting, of course, a powder is a powder and it can be used anywhere. So I also use these as eyeshadow all the time. So this palette is just so awesome for traveling, for just keeping in your bag. Like, even if I don't have foundation, I can at least do this, and at least it gives me a little something, you know, it puts a little something together. So so first though, I am gonna start with putting a little foundation on. I'm gonna be using the Wet n Wild Dewy foundation. This is their Photo Focus foundation, and they came out with this like a couple years ago. The first formula they came out with is more matte and more full coverage, but I really love that they came out with like a dewier version. It's a lot more lightweight. So I'm just putting a little bit in the back of my hand. This might not be exactly my shade. I never really worry about it. As long as it's like in my general color, I'll make it work. This is actually the light medium. Well, so it's the Buff Bisque is the color, Buff Bisque, but it's the light medium neutral. I did prep my skin with a little bit of the Glow Recipe, their Banana Souffle Moisture Cream, which I did try on for the first time in my last video. I really like it. It's great under makeup because it is not, like, it doesn't make you greasy at all. Okay, so I'm just grabbing a little bit of product here. Now let's get this going fast. I'm just gonna like dot some around. I'm using one of my favorite foundation brushes ever, which is from Smashbox. It's not the full coverage foundation brush. It's the, I'll find out the name and I'll put all the information below. I'll put everything I'm using and wearing below. Okay, so grabbing a little more. That was just like my first little bit. I'm gonna move you guys a little closer now. I'm trying to get some of this good natural light from the window here, even though it's kind of gloomy today. So yeah, I can't believe I'm heading to go get the vaccine finally. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm a little bit nervous, even though I know there's no reason to be nervous, but I'm not a big medicine person, you know? I'm more like all about natural remedies as much as possible, but at the same time, I'm not someone who's completely like, you know, if your doctor's telling you to do something, or like, I do trust science, so most of the time. So, and I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I was just like, cannot handle my mom anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But this definitely like is making her so happy. She's been worried. So, and you know, here in Jersey, like in Kearney, they have like a drive-through facility, so it's gonna be so easy. Okay, so that was that foundation. See, I put it was maybe like 2 to 3 pumps total, but it is kind of a pretty lightweight. I would say it's definitely like at the most medium coverage, which I mean, you can see it's, I don't even know if it's medium coverage. I would say it's probably sheer, and you can build it up. But you know, like I've said before, I don't like heavy skin. You can always make it heavier by adding, like, I'm gonna add a little concealer, you can add a little powder, but most of the time, once it kind of just like mingles with your skin and sets, like, you should be surprised. Makeup looks a lot different after like 20 minutes, even to an hour. So I'm using, again, the LA Girl Pro Conceal. I love, again, this concealer is just so cheap. I mean, it's so good, it's cruelty free. Like, I love all these brands. Like, that's why I always will have love for Wet n Wild, because they have been cruelty free and have been around forever, and they are still you know, coming out with products that are pretty awesome for the money. I mean, that foundation I think is like $6. And you know, a lot of times they have sales. Like I think I was just like at CVS yesterday and they had where you get like extra, you know, their bucks back and buy one get one or something. So okay, I'm just grabbing a little bit again. Like this concealer is no joke. I mean, that was like the teeniest bit. Look how much it spreads out. Now you can see that I'm using some as my kind of like my base for my eyelid. And again, I'm trying to be fast here, so I don't need like a whole separate eyeshadow primer, especially if I'm just doing something pretty natural and just running out the door kind of thing. I'm trying to make sure. I always end up doing this where I feel like I have more concealer on one side than the other. But see, I'm just like, I want it to blend into my skin. I really don't want you to see that obvious. I think I can even more over here just because, again, to balance it. I mean, a little goes so far. You can always add more. It is so hard to take away. Okay, done. Now, I'm gonna even try to kick it into even more high gear here. I'm just grabbing a teeny bit of powder. Doesn't really matter what powder you use. This is just a little bit of Smashbox's Halo powder in Fair Light. I love this powder because it is so lightweight. It doesn't look cakey. You know, it's this, and it's the one that it's so awesome because it has the grinder, so you always have fresh powder, fresh soft powder. So it's basically like you almost are getting a loose powder with the convenience of a compact. As a makeup artist, I think loose powder is better usually. I just think it's just so much softer and you get more for your money. It's just finer. It usually lays on the skin better, but it can be a hot mess. So I understand why a lot of people don't want to use loose powder. Okay, so now we're getting into the fun stuff, which is using the Cali contour palette to now give me some color around my entire face, including my eyes. So I love this palette. You can use this on so many different people. Like, you'd be surprised. You can use this on a pretty good amount of different skin tones. I mean, of course, like, it's not universal. I would say, you know, like a medium tan. But you'd be surprised. I can put this on so many different people because the bronzer is actually a really nice shade. And even if there's one powder or one color that they can't use, they can still use it for an eyeshadow or for a highlighter. So it's such a versatile, awesome palette. So, okay, I'm starting with the bronzer here, which is it. So this bronzer right here. That you can see I've already loved this palette so much. So much love. So I'm grabbing a little bit on a brush here. Gonna tap off. Now, I'm focusing this on my cheekbones here. I'm using this brush that I love. I've had it for so many years, and it's from a brand called Antonym, which I just looked up just so I could tell you that they do still sell these brushes on their website, and this brush is $22. It's such an awesome brush, and I highly recommend brushes like this to anybody. You see, okay, so it has an angle. You know, it's a good size, but it's not too big. So it's such a versatile palette because I can use the edge of it, like I'll use in a second, to contour, to kind of like carve out. I can use this to bronze. It's just a really great brush. It's very, very similar to the Smashbox contour, angled contour brush, which is one of my all-time faves as well. It's very, very similar. Okay, so again, just putting in some bronzer here. So I always like start kind of like on my apple. Sometimes I'll start to like kind of carve out where I am gonna contour. Buffing it back, blending it up to my hairline. Okay. Okay, contour color. Now I'm grabbing that. I'm grabbing it, see, just like on kind of like one edge of my brush on that. Now I'm gonna tuck that right under my cheekbone here and kind of give myself a little bit of contour. See, I just kind of buffed a teeny bit on my hand because, again, if I'm like worried that there's gonna be too much product, I'll kind of buff it out on my arm real quick and just, because again, I can always add more. Now, do you see how that gave me Look at that lift of my cheek. Look at the difference. I mean, it's amazing. Contouring is kind of crazy. It really is just playing with, like making an illusion for our eyes by playing with lights and darks, by playing with the, you know, shadows and contrasts, and it makes an illusion kind of for our eyes to make it look like someone has, you know. I'm even gonna, whatever I have left right now, there's a teeny left, I'm just gonna go like here, because this is what's gonna help me. So if you're someone, you know, who has, like, depending on your face shape, you can use the contour to really kind of pretend like you have shadows there. So right now I'm using it to kind of buff out, to make it look, you know, like a little bit like my double chin's not so prominent. I definitely think I've gained a COVID-19, if I'm not the only one. But I'm excited for these warmer days to get out there and get my butt moving. Okay, so now I'm going to the blush. These powders are really soft. Really, I mean, yes, there is a little bit of like dust when you go into the pan. Look at that blush. I love this blush because it's just a great neutral everyday color. Like, it's nothing too crazy. It almost just makes it look like you got, yeah, it's like a little sun-kissed. Okay, grabbing a little yellow, which is the banana powder. This is really good to help set my under eye, and I love this one for throughout the day. If I'm starting to look dark under here, this will just like kind of instantly brighten me up under my eyes. Whew, I'm hot. Okay. That's what we got so far. So pretty much got most of my face on. I'm gonna add a little bit of, a little bit of the highlight. So I'm gonna use this lighter one, which you can see is gotten lots of love, because that's a shade that I also will use for my eyes, which you will see in a second. So I'm using a fan brush, also from Smashbox. I'm just gonna dust that ever so softly. See, it's nothing too crazy. You can, I don't like it when, like, especially like when you're just doing a natural look, you don't want it to be like a disco ball on your cheek. I'm just trying to give like a natural glow. Bring some up here, whatever I have left. Grab a little more. A little times I'll put some down my nose. Basically, we want it to look like we're sweating. So you see, I pretty much almost use every color in this palette. I just haven't used the gold one, but I use it all the time for eyeshadow. So it's just such an amazing palette. So now I'm gonna work on my eyes. So if you wanted to just do like a 2-second eye look, I am just gonna use that same color that I used for my highlight. Grab a little bit, tap off again. Okay, so you see I had a little crease for my concealer. So I'm gonna just like smudge that, smooth that out. So that way when I go now with this, it's gonna set. I don't wanna set the smudge, you know? I don't wanna set the crease. So this color, I'm gonna bring it all the way up to my brow, and I'm just using a big fluffy, you could even use it for a crease. And because this is a highlight color, it's a perfect shade to bring all the way up to my brow, because it's gonna highlight under my brow. And I just love working, when you work with colors that, you know, aren't that different than your skin tone, which this highlight shade is amazing on, like, this is a really good match for a lot of medium tan skin tones, just to give them a little like golden bronzy something on top of their eye, but almost like the same as their skin tone. It's so awesome. Okay, so see, even just that by itself is so pretty. Just gives me a little something. But now this is how I'm gonna amp it up a teeny bit quickly here. Grabbing, okay, I'm grabbing the bronzer. I'm actually grabbing a little bit of the bronzer and contour, back and forth. Tack off, right? Now what's gonna make this look a little bit more put together is I'm gonna start adding this to my crease. And this is what's gonna start to just like, you know, kind of make my eyes like pop a little bit. Grabbing a little bit of those two shades again, back and forth, tap off. Tap off so that you don't have fallout all over your face, and then also so that you don't have too much on the brush, because again, you can always add more. What's amazing about I mean, honestly, what I'm doing, it's crazy how you could make so many little tweaks and variations on it and take it from just like daytime to like amping it up to being super nighttime. Okay, I'm also going to grab a little bit and put it kind of on the outer corner here. Blending in the crease and then blending it up a little bit to soften it and blend it out. Okay, now see the difference between, see how my eye like looks already, just from doing that I gave it a little bit more, a little drama. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, like I was saying, if I wanted to amp this up and make it even more dramatic for nighttime, I could take a really dark brown and add that to the outer corner to really smoke it out and bring a little teeny bit into the crease. And then I could also bring some of that color underneath and smoke it out. If I took a dark brown or black eyeliner and wore that eyeliner on top also, and then I can even put it on bottom of my waterline. I mean, all these things would just can make it, like, the more I do, the more and more sultry and more dramatic and smoky and everything my eyes will look. Now, because I have hooded eyes, sometimes I don't always do eyeliner because I do feel that it closes my eyes in a lot. Also, like under me, like I just have like not the best eyes, and because they're so squished together, it's easy for me to get smears all over my face. Okay, so see, look at, isn't that pretty? Just a little, just give me a little something. And then if I wanted to, I could even go back in and just make sure that the lighter shade is still popping, that I didn't get too. Now look, if I want to even like add a little something underneath, again, back to the bronzer and the contour, mixing them together, I have a flat definer brush. You see, so now I'm going to take that and just put a little bit here. All right, now quick something in my brows. This is something I've never ever used before. It's from Winky. I got it in one of my BoxyCharms. It's one of those products that says it's a universal shade. There we go. Might be a teeny bit too dark, but I'm almost done with my makeup. I'm trying to be fast. Yeah, I'm trying to be fast. See, it's a little dark for me, but that's very dark, actually. See, this is the way this is universal. This is why it cracks me up. Now for my lips, I was just gonna put a little lip gloss on. This is actually the Kompari Lip Glossy in Birthday Suit. It just makes your lips look so juicy. It's like the palest little pink. Oh, look at that. Sweat on my upper lip. All right, now mascara, and then I'm done. Where'd she go? Oh. Mascara I'm using is Gellar. Also got it in my BoxyCharm. It's the, I believe it's called like Lash Boss, I think. Lash Boss. I like to talk about sometimes and like to talk about some of these OG brands like Gellar and Smashbox and MAC and all these OG brands that have been around for a really long time. I feel bad because, you know, obviously like there's all these new brands that are stealing the thunder sometimes, and the OG brands are still where it's at. I'm telling you, like, they're the ones that have been around forever. They're the ones that have paved the way for all these newer brands that, now because there's like new technology and things that they have paid money for to research over decades. Now all these new brands want to come in and try to... Don't get me wrong, I love a lot of new brands, but I'm just saying, like, you can't forget about the OGs. See, I love that mascara. That was pretty much just one coat. All right, so see, my finished look, quick little, everyday, nothing too crazy. Just a little, like, made my eyes a little more open, I look a little more put together. I don't know, maybe I'll meet my future husband at the vaccination site. Probably not, but you never know. So I hope you like this. I tried to be quick. 21 minutes, but I tried to be quick. I hope you're having an amazing Wednesday. I know it's kind of blah out, but you know, whatever. Do whatever you feel makes you happy today. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care. Bye.